Express and Node, they're backend frameworks that help you make your web apps really easy. So first, let's talk about JavaScript. So, no, actually, first, make sure that all of you have installed Node. So we sent out an announcement about installing Node. Please open that up if you haven't already, and follow the instructions. It should be fairly straightforward. Okay. So let's just run a quick experiment. What do you think will happen when this code is run? So there are a couple of answer choices on the Clicker website. So if you open that up and then make your selection, give you about a minute. See what happens. Alright, so JavaScript is strange in a way that it's asynchronous. So what actually happens here is that JavaScript basically sets a timer for 2 seconds, and it puts it off to the side. And then after that timer runs out, then it'll print world. So what happens is it sets that timer, and then it forgets about it for a little bit, and then it runs this console.log hello. So it prints out hello to the console. And then after 2 seconds, when the timer is done, then it prints out world. So the correct answer is A. If you don't understand this, don't worry. It takes a little bit to get the hang of it. You probably won't have to worry about it too much, but just keep this in mind. Right. So what is Node? Well, if you look it up on Google, then it says it's a platform that's built on Google's V8 JavaScript engine. It's fast and scalable, and event-driven and non-blocking. But if you're like me when you're starting out learning Node, you'll have no idea what this means. And that's okay. Let's clear things up. Node is just JavaScript. It's JavaScript on the server. So you've probably all interacted with client-side JavaScript. This is the stuff that makes your websites responsive and dynamic and interactive. So things like animations, pop-ups, and fancy menus that fly out. These are all usually created with some sort of JavaScript. It's client-side JavaScript. It's the JavaScript in your browser. So server-side JavaScript is different in that it's more like behind-the-scenes JavaScript. It makes sure that when you request a web page, you actually get the web page that you want. So what happens when you go to Google.com, or not Google.com, xkcd.com? So the client sends an HTTP request to the server. So it's basically saying, hey, can you give me this web page? And then the server runs some code on its side, and it says, and it's thinking about what page to actually give you. And this code can be in a variety of languages like Ruby, Python, PHP. But today we're talking about JavaScript, so it's Node. And Node runs some code to figure out what to actually give you back. And then once it does that, it'll send you the corresponding HTML, CSS, and client-side JavaScript. Remember, client-side JavaScript is not server-side JavaScript. They're different. So let's look at a quick example. If you write this code into a file called app.js, and then you go into your command prompt terminal, and you type in node app.js, and then you go to your browser and you open up localhost 8000, you'll see something that looks like this. So we can actually get hello world to appear on our screen, which is pretty cool. So how does this actually work? Well, I'm going to go very high level on this, so you don't have to exactly understand how it works minutia, but I'm just going to go over it real quick. So the first line, what it's doing is saying, I want to import this package called HTTP. And HTTP is basically a list of functions that will help you start a web server, start a server. And importing packages is taking code that someone else wrote and using it to make our lives easier. So we're going to use the create server function inside HTTP. And we're going to create a server called hello server. And what happens when you access this server? Well, it's going to send a response back with the text hello world, as you can see in the previous slide. And the last line, we're just going to say, server, listen on this port 8000. So a port is just a way for computers to communicate with each other. And in this case, we're using the port number 8000. So this is all cool and dandy, but let's say we want to add more text. So we can do something called res.write some text. So we're just adding more text in this. Okay, so we can add more text. What if we keep going? It becomes a little tedious, right? So that's when Express comes in. So Express is on top of Node, and it organizes and separates your code so that it's easier to work with. But how do we install this Express? Well, every installation of Node comes with something called NPM, the Node Package Manager. And it's really awesome because it keeps track of all the packages that you're using, and it makes it really easy to install new ones. So hopefully all of you have installed Node by now. And we should test out NPM. So let's check if NPM is installed first. So Windows, open up command prompt, and Mac, open up terminal, and just type in NPM. You should just get a long list of commands that'll sort of tell you how NPM works. Don't worry about too much for now, just make sure that you get some commands. I'll give you a couple seconds to do it. If anyone has any questions, just raise their hands and we'll help out with debugging and stuff. So yeah, go ahead and try this out. Just raise your hands and we'll come and find you. Okay. So now that we've checked that NPM is installed, hopefully, we can install Express. So for Windows, you may need to open up your command prompt and run as admin instead. And for Mac, you may need to add student in front of it. But try npm install -gd express. And this will install Express into your laptop. So give that a try. Alright, who's managed to get Express to be installed? Out of here. Who still needs help? Yeah, we'll find you. That was Okay, who still needs help? All right. Okay, let's move on then. All right, I'm just going to do some more explanations. So if you still have any questions or problems with NPM, just ask one of us. So the way that Node keeps track of your packages is through a file called package.json. So it contains a lot of information about your app, things like your name, version number, description, and most importantly, the dependencies. So these are the packages that you're going to use in your app. And anytime that you change your package.json or you add a new one, you need to run npm install. And this npm install, it looks inside your package.json. And it reads off your dependencies, and it makes sure you have what you need to build your app. So npm is like a really nice friend. It's got your back. So back to Express. So Express sits on top of Node, and it helps you build your web apps really quickly. So let's try it out. Go to your command prompt and type express space hello express. And what this will do is it'll create a new directory called hello express, and it'll have a lot of other files in it, like try doing express, hello express. That doesn't work. Raise your hand. No space express. That doesn't work. That means you All right, if you're getting an error, try this. Yeah. If you're on neither. It's a hyphen. So give this a try and let us know if you have any other errors that pop up. If you have any questions, we're still running around to help people, so raise your hand. Raise them high. Yeah. All right, who's managed to get it to work? If anyone still needs any help, keep on raising your hand. We won't be doing more GitHub stuff today. So if you haven't managed to get it to work, you can come see us after class, and we'll help you out with it individually. Or you can just raise your hand, and then we'll help you out now. But I'm just going to go and talk about what actually happened. For those of you that managed to get it to work, and hopefully all of you once all the stuff is ironed out. So what happens is Express initializes a bunch of folders and files into this Hello Express directory. And these files and folders make it easy for you to organize your code. So there are things like app.js, package.json, and the routes and views folder. More on those later. So as you can see, we just created a new package.json. So you need to npm install to make sure that you have everything that you need. And I can't emphasize this enough. So to start our app, we'll have to use, to start our app, we go into the folder called Hello Express, and we type in npm space start. And what that does is it looks inside your package.json under scripts, and it runs this node.bin/ww stuff. And if you go into that file, you'll see like, you see this server code, this app listening on a port. So it looks very similar to our hello server from earlier, right? So it's just changed a little bit. So now if you have localhost 3000, because in this case Express is using 3000 as the default instead of 8000, you'll see this, which is just Express welcoming you to the world of Express. And you can even go and visit other pages like /users. In this case, we're just getting text that says respond with resource. So it's just placeholder for now. So let's look at app.js. So in app.js, we have this line of code that says app.get some stuff, right? So what it's saying is that whenever anyone visits localhost :3000/users, it'll run this function. And the function says, okay, I'm going to return a response with the text respond with resource. And that's it. Pretty simple. But if we had a lot of these, like if we had a lot of pages on our web page, then we could have a lot of these in our app.js. And it gets kind of cluttery. So we want to separate out these things from app.js. And we're going to move them into the routes folder. So this is what Express initializes into your Hello Express directory. So you start out by importing a couple of packages that you wrote, or a couple of packages that Express wrote for you. And we're going to call them routes and users. And they basically import the index and users.js files. And what happens is that when someone accesses localhost :3000/users, app.js says, okay, well, I don't know exactly what to do, but users knows what to do, so I'm going to pass it over to you. And then users.js says, okay, well, I know what to do. I'm just going to send back a response with this text. And that's what happens onto localhost :3000/users. And this is what you'll see. So now, this still hasn't solved the problem of separating out our text from our code that's serving up the text. So what we want to do instead of res.send, we want to do res.render. So what this does instead is it looks inside your views folder for a file called index. This is usually HTML. And it'll render it. So in other words, it'll take your HTML and it'll give it to the client. And then you'll be able to see whatever HTML you wrote into index.html. Okay. All right, any questions? Yeah. So Express is a little bit difficult to get started on, as you've seen, because of errors. But once you get going, it's pretty organized and it's really clean. And it makes building web apps pretty simple once you get past the initial errors. But it's okay, we'll help you. So let us know if you have any problems. Yeah.